Hello there everybody, Sam's Trains here. Welcome back to the railway and welcome back to the model railway news for March. So I hope you're all doing okay, keeping safe of course, getting ready for the lockdown to end. Over here in the UK, I think we're chomping at the bit for the restrictions to get lifted. And in the world of model railways, there have been lots of updates, lots of new products that have come out and have been released into the world. Lots more announced, lots more updates have been published as well. Man, there's a whole lot going on this month. So sit down, relax, get yourself a beverage if you like, and let's get stuck in. So first of all, we'll start off with Hornby, who have quite a few brand new bits and bobs that have just come into stock. Up first, it is the lovely Peckett B2 locomotive, which are gorgeous. Now, the new variations on Hornby.com are still showing as out of stock. However, Hornby have said that these are going to be arriving much sooner than expected. In fact, before the end of March. They're saying late March for these now. So hopefully we'll be seeing these in stock very, very soon. In a few new liveries, so we have this one. This is the dark green. I think that's perhaps a bit darker maybe than the leaf green that we've seen before. I think that one looks really, really smart. We've also got the NCB green version, which again is a very, very different shade of green. You've got this one. I like this very much. This is the Earl, which is in a very, very fetching blue livery. I think that looks fantastic. And then this is the one that I predict will be the most popular. It is Henry the Green Engine, or Henry the Green Peckett. Yeah, absolutely amazing livery. The lining on that looks stunning, particularly the wheels. Look at those wheels. I do love a good Peckett wheel with the lining. Also with Hornby is the unrebuilt Merchant Navy class. Now this is something that people have been asking for absolutely ages. I think they were first due to be released absolutely ages ago, but finally they have started to arrive. I say they've started to arrive because it's just this one at the time of filming. Belgian Marine. This is a model that's been promised for a really, really long time, so it's great to see that these are starting to arrive. It's the BR Blue version that I'm really waiting for. I have heard kind of unofficially that those are on the way, so if that's true, maybe I'll be able to pick one of those up before very long. But either way, yes, the unrebuilt Merchant Navies, that's very, very exciting. Now, on the 8th of March, Hornby made a very exciting and also a very sudden announcement on their social media platforms. So basically, they've announced a ready-to-run 042 Lion locomotive for the LMR in order to complement Stephenson's rocket. And this is something that everybody has been expecting, and it's something that a lot of people have been really, really wanting to see. Now, according to the Post, this model was due to be announced as part of Hornby's 2022 range, but it got announced early for whatever reason. And early is definitely the word, because there's very little information on this. There's very little information about the model that they're going to be producing. There are no drawings, there are no CADs, certainly no engineering samples or anything like that. So that left me scratching my head. Why have Hornby announced this so early? Well, I wasn't scratching my head for very long, because literally the next day, on the 9th of March, Rapido Trains announced on their Facebook page that they've secured the exclusive rights to manufacture a range of models from the iconic Tipped-Field Thunderbolt film. And guess which locomotive plays a starring role in the film? Yes, it is the 042 Lion locomotive from the LMR. So does this mean that two of these locomotives are on the way? If so, what does that mean for the two brands that are producing them? I mean, we know what kind of quality Rapido are known for, but they're also quite an expensive brand. So does this mean that Hornby's line, when it comes, is going to be more of a budget option? I really don't know. It's going to have to be a little bit less expensive than Stephenson's rocket was, because if it costs a bomb, people are just going to go Rapido, aren't they? Yeah, it's all speculation at the moment, but this should be very, very interesting. It'll be very fascinating to see how this turns out. I should also point out that Rapido hasn't actually announced anything yet. All they've said is that they have the rights to produce a range of merchandise from the film. So what exactly they are producing, and if there's anything in addition to the Lion locomotive, we have no idea as of yet. Fingers crossed we'll get a more solid announcement from them soon. Up next then, let's move over and have a quick look at Hornby's Engine Shed blog. They've posted an update on the Intercity 225 sets, this time the driving van trailers, or DVTs for short. And there's some great engineering samples here on display, as you can see. They say this is the later version of the trailer because it has those roof domes, but it's fantastic to see that those are progressing. And speaking of progressing, Hornby announced, I think it was just this year, a new range of luggage vans, and they're now at such a stage that they're able to show production samples of these, which of course are also decorated, as you can see. So you've got the southern version there, that looks very fetching, doesn't it? You've got the BR version, there's even a Pullman style one. Now that one looks good to me, I've got my eye on that one, I'd love to get one of those. And finally, on Hornby's engine shed, last month we got an update on the all-new tooled 9F locomotive. Well, this month we have an update, you guessed it, on their tenders. But this is actually more interesting than it sounds, because the blog highlights that there are actually 5 main types of tender being produced in the range, which is obviously a huge undertaking. And there are images of, well, they're sort of CAD images of each version. So you've got the BR1B, which I often hear called a Brib. I don't know if that's an official nickname or not. You've got the BR1C, the BR1F, the BR1G, and the BR1K. So they are all kind of similar, aren't they? But they do have subtle differences, and each of those 5 will be available on the various different 9Fs that Hornby are producing. So that just kind of highlights what a serious project this is, how much effort is going into it. I mean, can you imagine back when Triang released this model, can you imagine there being 5 different tenders on that version? Definitely not. It just shows how far we've come in these years, doesn't it? They are just CADs at the moment, as you can see, but as always, it is great to see these models progressing. It has been a huge couple of months for pre-grouping coaches. We've seen the release of Hornby's large range of 4- and 6-wheeled pre-grouping coaches, and now there's a huge update from Hattons on their Genesis range. So they are now starting to show off some of their decorated samples. The first one they've decided to show is the Great Western samples, and just look at some of the incredible decoration of these coaches. They really look top-notch, don't they? Which makes me really excited to see how this range is going to turn out. I'm also slightly disappointed because I haven't ordered any Great Western ones. I'm starting to think that might be a mistake, but I'm going to hold off until I've seen the rest of them, because maybe the ones I have ordered will look just as impressive. In fact, I'm counting on it. So look at the decoration here. I think the decoration highlights some of the various details that weren't quite as obvious before when they were just unpainted samples. You can see all of those various separately fitted parts. Look at the interiors. You've got the luggage racks. That's a really nice feature. And you've also got properly painted seats, so that when you've got those lights on inside, those details are going to stand out and the coaches are going to look fantastic. Speaking of lights, they have showed off what the coaches look like with the lights activated, should you buy a version with the lights, of course. And look at this, doesn't that look absolutely wonderful? And notice there's no light bleed either. You haven't got the ends of the coaches or the bodies of the coaches illuminating. That's great, nice and realistic. Again, I've got affiliate links if you would like to check out the range. The bad news for me is that I'm now thinking of picking up some Great Western ones as well, because these really do look too good to miss. So it's amazing to see how these coaches are progressing. Can't wait to see them come out. I've got quite a lot of them on pre-order. Can't wait to get them into my hands and actually see what these are like in the flesh. Should be very, very good. Fingers crossed they will be. Next up then, a bit of an update from Helgent. Now Helgent this month, it's just a ton of new releases, so strap yourselves in. Lots of them are O gauge, but there's also one 00 that I've seen as well. So what have we got in stock? Well, there's the new O gauge Great Western rail car. Look at those, they look pretty impressive, don't they? You've got the O gauge Class 37/4, which again looks like an absolute beast of a locomotive, doesn't it? You've got an O gauge Class 17, a class that I'm really, really interested in, hoping to try one of those one day actually. And then yes, the 00 release is the Class 25/3. So all of these models are now in stock and ready to order from your favourite retailer. If I can get affiliate links, I will post them down in the description, but it shouldn't be too difficult to find these. But like I say, tons and tons of new models coming into stock this month, which is really, really great to see. It has been a little while since I've done any O gauge news, but there is quite a lot this month. There's also some from Dapol as well, who have announced a brand new locomotive in O gauge. So it is the LSWR B4, which has previously only been available from Dapol in 00 gauge, and I've got mine right here. Lovely little locomotives. I reckon these are going to translate very, very nicely into O gauge, aren't they? So yeah, it's a cute little 040 locomotive, again pre-grouping, so it's going to fit in very nicely with the current pre-grouping craze, isn't it? Really, really interested to see what the B4 looks like in O gauge. So they've promised some of the usual high quality features. You've got the detailed cab interior with a firebox glow, apparently that's really good. You've got that very innovative slide-in PCB DCC fitting solution, as we've seen in 00 gauge with the Mogul, for example. There's going to be space for 2 speakers, so you're going to get some quality sound out of this if you decide to go for sound. They're going to be fitted with 5-pole motors, and there's quite a big list of different variations going to be produced as well. So again, this is a major project, and it sounds like Dapol are going to do the proper job with these, which is really, really good to see. They've also announced a second production run of the 43XX Mogul in 00 gauge. I did review an example from the first batch. If you would like to check it out, I'll put the review up there. However, Dapple are making some changes for the second batch, which is very interesting indeed. So they're actually, according to their website anyway, they're actually expanding the tooling suite to cover lots more variants. So they're now going to be covering variants between 4321 and up to 5385. And these include new cabs, apparently, with a higher and a shorter roof. They've got new chimneys, straight chimneys, apparently, different motion brackets and boiler supports, and also a foot plate with a different centre splasher. And Dapple's website lists 9 new versions of the Moguls up for grabs. Do check them out and see what you're interested in. One did grab my attention though, and that is the top one here, number 5322 in the khaki livery. And this is what the khaki livery looks like if you're interested. The Dean Goods was done in khaki, and it's very, very cool, I must say. It's a livery that not everybody is going to like, but it's one that personally fascinates me. And again, this is awful news because it might mean that I'll have to buy another Dapple Mogul. I'm trying to get out of it, but I don't think I will be able to. That's something I feel I need. So maybe I'll be doing another review of the Dapple Mogul when they come out. Either way, it's good to hear that this model has been popular enough to justify a second run, and it's great to see that even more of these Moguls are going to be hitting the shelves before very long. Up next, there's a little bit of an update from Bachmann. Now, I actually missed this on last month's news update. That's just my fault, it's me being stupid. But there are some brand new additions coming to the Bachmann Thomas & Friends lineup, which I think is too important not to talk about. So the first one is Ryan. They are producing a Ryan locomotive. And of course, as you might know, Ryan in real life is based on the N2 locomotive here, which has been produced in model form before, of course. This is the Hornby one. Was mainline to start with, but now we're going to be seeing one from Bachmann, but in the form of Ryan from Thomas & Friends, which is very, very cool indeed. Now, it's not on the Bachmann site. I've done a search for this on Bachmann's website. I'm guessing it will be coming to that pretty soon, but the model is listed on Train World at $119.99, which is very, very expensive for a glorified toy, isn't it? That's nearly £90. So it is a lot to pay for something like this. However, I will be really interested to see how they turn out. And also among some of the new announcements, we have these. These are Toby's museum coaches and also a brake to go with them as well. And isn't that crazy? We've waited and waited for a decent range of four-wheeled coaches to be released. We've waited for years, and suddenly we have loads and loads of them on the way, which is pretty cool. So maybe I'll be getting some of those. Again, these are quite expensive. They're $29.99, which is about £20. Although, of course, that is quite a lot cheaper than the Hatton's Genesis and the Hornby four-wheeled coaches that have been released, but it's unlikely that these are going to be in the same league because, of course, they're designed to look like models from a kids' TV show as opposed to real coaches that operated in real life. However, I will still be interested to see how all of this new stuff from Bachmann turns out, so stay tuned. I might choose to look into some of this stuff. Next up then, just a very, very brief update, but it's one that I think I need to talk about because I'm quite excited about it. It's from KR Models, and I got this email from them to say that the GT3 has arrived in the country and it should be with customers very soon, which is excellent news. I have ordered and paid for one, so hopefully that means I'll be reviewing one before very long. Now, if we look at KR Models' website, it does seem that expression of interest for a second production run is still open if you missed out on the first set. The site reads, please make your interest known if that's the case. So if you are interested in one of these and you missed out, check out KR Models' website and you might be able to push them into producing even more if that's something you'd like. Let's finish off then with a couple of the polls that I've set for you guys this month. The first one comes from the last news video that I did. I asked if you'd like to see the new Hornby LSWR T9 reviewed, and look at this, a landslide for you there. 92% said yes, so I did get one and I did review it. Here it is now, as you can see, and I thought the locomotive was actually really quite good. So if you'd like to check out the review, I will include a link up there. Next up, I did a review of the Hornby A4 in the very unusual experimental purple livery, and I was struggling to decide what to make of the livery, so I asked you guys, what is the verdict? And as you can see, 75% liked it. I wasn't expecting that many people to like it. I was really expecting more of a 50-50, and almost 20% had no particular opinion on the livery, which means that only 8% actively disliked it. So overall, it would seem that that livery is quite popular, and I can see why. I wasn't sure whether I was going to like it, but as soon as I got it out of the box, it started to grow on me. But now I would say I am genuinely a fan of the experimental purple. Next up then, I did a review of the Hornby Class M7. The impressive thing about this model is that it turns out that mine was made around 10 years ago, which definitely took me by surprise. So I asked you guys, could you tell that the model that I reviewed was as old as that? And only around 20% of you could, which just shows really what quality those locomotives are. I'm so happy with my Hornby M7. I think it's fantastic. Alright folks, well that is the end of the model railway news for this month. I do hope you enjoyed it. As always, if I haven't covered something that you think deserved to be covered, do let me know what that was down in the comments and I will consider it for next month. For now though, thank you very much for watching. Hope you liked it as always. Thank you for your company and I'll see you on the next one. Alright, take care folks.